Good morning. A slightly different look for me this morning, I feel. Yesterday was this is going in my pituitary folder thing. Yesterday was a very, very difficult day, and this is more of a video for, I don't know. Well, I'll tell you the story and then you can decide who it's for. Yesterday, if you're following what's going on with me, I've split up now from my husband. More than amicable, all fine, absolutely fine. Both of us wanted it, so that's not an issue. He got to the end of his tether because we were cohabiting in the same house. But then that got too much for him because of my illness. She moved out. Excuse me. And he took the kids, but now I've got the kids back. And I'm doing everything. I'm doing as much as I can and my mum's doing the rest. That's that. And then yesterday, I don't even know what... Oh, yeah, no. Wednesday night, my son decided that he was going to have an argument. And when I'm okay, I'll just ignore it. But when I'm not okay, then it all gets out of hand. Completely and utterly out of hand. He's 13. So he doesn't stop. I don't stop. And it just escalates. So basically it escalated quite hugely. I'm just talking shouting. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of shouting. But of course then I start storming, and then he becomes a lot more articulate than I am, and that really winds me up. So I sent him up to his bedroom and he said, I'm not going up. And I'm like, no, go up, I'm there, don't you go upstairs. No. And he's 13, but he's nearly 6 foot tall, and he's tall and thin, but he's muscly. He plays rugby. He's I can't think. Whatever. He went up. No, he didn't. The only way I could get him to go upstairs, if I was about to say jumped up, but I don't jump up. I sort of however I get up, very, very slowly, waddle over to him as quickly as I could. But by this point he had realised that I was very, very angry and he'd run upstairs. And then I said, it was lucky you went upstairs because I've always got to have the last word. Because I would have put you out the front door. And he's like, I'd like to see you do that. And so, of course, if you antagonise me, I'm going to try and prove to you that that is how it is, and that's what I'm going to do. But anyway, that all stopped, and he went into his room, and my mum got here at that point, so that sorted that out. And so that's fine, done. And then the next morning, I was really bad. I could hardly get out of bed. But I did get out of bed, made myself get out of bed. Everything was in huge pain. My head was unbelievable. I was so tired. But came down here, sorted his school uniform out, sorted out his breakfast and my daughter's breakfast, and then I had to go back to bed. I was absolutely exhausted. And fell asleep. And then the next minute I know my ex-husband is on the phone saying, I'm coming round in 10 minutes, get your ass up out of bed, we need to talk. And I'm like, I can't even get out of bed. And I tried and I couldn't get out of bed, I couldn't move. Everything had stopped. I think I then fell back to sleep again. And then the next minute, he's up in my bedroom screaming at me, if you don't get out that fucking bed, I'm going to fucking drag you out the fucking bed. And screaming, you're abusing my children, you're doing this to my children, you're doing that to my children. There's nothing the matter with you, you're just a lazy bitch, get up. Get out of bed, how dare you do this? And I couldn't move. And I was absolutely physically scared out of my life. And I was thinking, who can I phone, who can I phone? And I couldn't think of who to phone to come round. And then I phoned my mum, and she came. She spoke to him on the phone, and he was screaming and shouting at her. And so she just said, all right, I'm coming round. So she cancelled her people who she was seeing, and she came round. But in the meantime, he carried on screaming at me, which is unbelievably unlike him. He isn't like that. He's not that sort of person at all. So he was completely at the end of his tether, because it's not like him at all. He's a nice chap. You know, I keep trying to tell people how nice he is, because he is nice. He's not like it ever to me before, ever. And that's, I think, what scared me. But I couldn't move. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't come downstairs. I couldn't talk to him because my head wasn't working. So the only thing I could do, because he's petrified, I'd phone the police. And the police were here within 20 minutes. But I thought he was outside the door, my bedroom door. Hi, Peggotty. But he wasn't. He'd obviously got back in the car and gone. But I didn't know this. I thought he was outside, so I was petrified. But when I get petrified, it's the PTSD kicks in, and I'm unbelievably anxious. Everything just gets 10 times out of control. I can't sort anything out. Can't breathe. I can't do anything. Anyway, Mum turned up. He wasn't here. Then the police turned up, and superb. They were really good. They understood what was going on and what was happening. I've never, ever once called 999. Never. In my entire life, never. He petrified me. So I went, no, I told them, they took a statement and everything, and they said, right, push, and I'm like, no, there's no point pressing charges. He's never done anything before. And they're like, well, do you want us to go round and speak to him? And I'm like, no, because he's not like that. He doesn't need anybody speaking to him. He knows that it's the illness that does it. He knows if I could get up and do something, I'd do it. He knows that I'm not abusing the bloody children. He knows all of this. If he wants to phone, I even said, if you want to phone social services, get them to come round, 100% fine. Do it. I've got nothing to hide. And I mean that 100%. It's not an issue. Yeah, I scream and shout at the kids. Yes, I threaten them. I threatened to put my son outside and sit him on the doorstep. And yes, I've probably threatened to... No, I've never threatened to knife him or anything. But I do all of that. I threatened to knife my husband before, ex-husband before, when I'm ill. But I can't keep apologising for being ill. I can't do it. I won't do it. I'm not going to keep apologising because I'm ill. It just seems ridiculous. And equally, if I apologise, it's taking ownership. And I won't take ownership of something that I don't mean. Anyway, the police have got it all on record because they said that they had to then, so that's fine. I don't mind that, that's fine. Because I don't know what's going to happen. And I need to back myself up. But then I just went to sleep because that had been, say, half an hour full of questions. And because I was having to concentrate to say, I then was asleep all day. 5 o'clock I woke up and then started going funny again. I was petrified that he was going to come in the house when he brought the kids back. So my mum came round. He didn't come in the house. He sent a text last night saying sorry. He sent another text again this morning saying sorry, it never happened before, never happen again. Too much too late. I'm ill. You can't treat me like that. But I completely understand that he's at the end of his tether. He's walked out on loads, everything. He's got nothing now. But that's not my fault. It's not my fault that I'm ill. But equally, it's not his fault that... I don't know. I don't know. See, I don't quite... I can't help that I'm ill. There's nothing. Equally, he can't help that I'm ill. It's not his fault. And it's very, very difficult when I go in and out, in and out, in and out all the time. 1 minute I'm absolutely fine and then the next second I'm screaming at him. So it's very, very emotional for him. And he's at the end of his tether. So I can completely, actually I can understand why he's done it. But on the other hand, is it acceptable? I don't know. No, it's not acceptable. But it's completely understandable. No, I'm not, obviously, I'm not, I want us to be friends. I think he actually wants us to be friends, but he can't grasp the fact that he knew me when I was okay and now I'm not okay, and he can't get it. He can't see how I can go in and out so quickly and change from being me to being somebody who's completely and utterly not me to being me again within 30 seconds. He's having to cope with that, and it's far too difficult for him to cope with. So he's got an amazing amount of stress. So I can understand it. But I say, who's this aimed at? I don't know if it's aimed at carers or aimed at pituitary patients. Probably, I don't know. But just to say, I don't even know what I'm saying. I should have done this when my head was working properly. It's very difficult for invisible illness sufferers and carers, because everybody tends to forget about the carers. They do. And it's so difficult for them. I mean, he's not my carer now. He's not doing hardly anything. And he's expecting me to do everything, and I can't do it, so my mum's having to do it. And that's not really acceptable. But he's still doing the kids a little bit for the kids. The bits that I can't do, like driving around, because I can't drive anymore. But that behaviour is not acceptable from anybody's standards. That's about it, I think. I'm alright this morning. This isn't me looking alright. No, I'm not alright. No, my head's not with it, really. I'll have a cup of coffee and think. Funny. I'll have a cup of coffee and sit here and smile. Okay, that's it. I'll leave it at under 15 minutes because I don't know if this will upload anyway. Okay, so that was my day, and carers and invisible illness sufferers, try to think of it from both sides. I think that was the moral of the story.